So I've been on WeddingWire for a few months now, and I'm finally able to provide a comprehensive review so that if you've been on the fence about joining them to further enhance your photography business, you'll have a pretty clear perspective of whether or not you'll want to join. We'll be here a while, so grab a snack, a drink, piece of paper, and let's get started. So good to be seen, and it's even better to see you. Welcome back to another video. In the event we are meeting today, allow me to introduce myself. I'm Francis, destination wedding photographer based out of Puerto Rico. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing what WeddingWire actually is, how it works, what it offers, my experience with it, as well as confessing whether or not it's worth it for you. Let's get started by discussing just what it is. WeddingWire is an all-inclusive bride and groom platform where they can find anything they need, from wedding invitations and photographers like myself to venues where they can hold their ceremony, as well as hire a planner to help them do so. Conversely, it's also a platform where folks like you and I can promote ourselves as vendors for the aforementioned brides and grooms. As expected, I'm going to be tackling this video from the vendor side. In order to do so, I figured the best thing to do would be to jump on the website and show you what it can actually offer in terms of services so that you can see just how much productivity it can provide for you as a business owner. Now, it's worth mentioning that I am in no way, shape, or form sponsored by WeddingWire, and they will not get to see this video before it goes live. As you can already tell, this is a pretty robust platform, and WeddingWire has thought of everything. Our home screen shows plenty of information already and statistics you should be aware of during your membership. Your home screen provides analytics like the amount of leads received each month, the amount of time it takes for you to respond to a lead, the reviews you've received, and the amount of stops people have made on your page. As you can see here, I've received well over 130 visits to my storefront since joining in June, resulting in more or less 73 leads. Most of them have been real people exchanging messages with me time and time again, while others have seemed a little spammy and never respond past the initial message. Moreover, expect some accounts to be fellow photographers sneaking into your inbox just to find out what you charge for a new prospect. Frowned upon? Perhaps. Illegal? Not at all. Moving on to the storefront, here is where you have the bulk of your information. WeddingWire allows you to write a brief yet thorough description of services that you provide, as well as everything that you're willing to offer, assuming, of course, you provide packages for clients. The storefront is also where you can show your location in your area, answer some frequently asked questions, provide deals that you're currently promoting, upload both photos and videos of your work, keep track of your availability, establish preliminary pricing, showcase some team members, and even share some social media links. I'd like to point out that reviews are something that you definitely want to collect because they not only give you more visibility, but also put you in a trustworthy position for future clients. Moreover, it's 10% towards a finalized storefront. In order to finalize your storefront, you're going to want to check off all of the boxes WeddingWire has provided for you. As you can see, I'm just 2 reviews away from having 90% of my storefront done, as well as missing a video I'll be shooting shortly for the 100% for which we all strive. The messages portion of the platform is the one you'll probably be using the most. This is where prospective clients reach out to you in an attempt to engage you in conversation. Don't be surprised if they go straight to asking about pricing and packages. WeddingWire allows you to save some template responses that will make answering simple and easy while also keeping that response time under control. My recommendation is to always keep things under an hour, and another way you can help yourself do that is by downloading the app on your smartphone. WeddingWire is actually free for everyone, but that does not necessarily translate into paid work. Now, what do I mean by that? It costs nothing to actually have a profile, but rest assured you won't be landing on the first few pages of your niche anytime soon. The thing about WeddingWire is that it's sort of SEO enabled. In other words, you pay a premium membership in order for your profile to stand out among your peers. To this point, there are 3 tiered memberships: the Spotlight, the Featured, and the Professional. I have what you call a professional tier membership. According to WeddingWire, the pro tier in my area captures around 35% of traffic and is placed just after the featured tier. I pay around $83 a month in my neck of the woods, which is automatically withdrawn from my bank account. It ties me to WeddingWire for an entire year, for which I don't mind because I did my own research. After my initial contract expires, I can keep paying month to month at my rate or perhaps even upgrade to another tier. The next tier is the feature tier. This is by far the most popular of all three and captures around 70% of the traffic that comes through searches. The cost here is $145, again, pertaining to Puerto Rico a month, but guarantees your profile landing on the first page of all search results. The featured tier is placed right after the spotlighters. Last but not least, definitely comes the aforementioned spotlight tier. This is the priciest, coming in at $383 a month, $300 more than what I pay for mine. WeddingWire claims it captures 90% of all incoming traffic and provides you with an exclusive top 4 placement on every stage, so that if brides and grooms scroll past the first few pages, you'll always be present. Unfortunately, those spots are already taken in Puerto Rico by photographers I know personally, and I don't think they're going to be giving them up anytime soon. Now, you might be thinking, Dan, even $83 a month sounds expensive, and rightfully so, but you can't see this as anything but an investment. 83 times 12 comes out to $996, which is definitely up there, but try to see it from a different perspective. I booked a $1,500 micro wedding and my entire year's membership already paid for itself and then some. Not to mention the fact that I've been booked more than 10 weddings so far, and I'm extremely happy with my decision to invest. You need to see WeddingWire as another subscription towards your business, like when you use Storyblocks to make better videos or Lightroom to edit better pictures. I don't think I have to drive that home too much, because if you're watching this video, odds are you're already willing to fork over some cash and are serious about your photography. Having said that, I do feel like I need to get something off my chest, because for the sake of transparency, it's only fair. I feel I have an advantage over a lot of you out there. Not an unfair advantage because it's out of my control, but I do want to clear the air about something that puts me in a position to succeed. I'm a destination wedding photographer in Puerto Rico. This place is paradise. I essentially live where most people vacation, and it gives me quite a bit of leads simply because of my geographical location. Now, I'm not saying that I'm successful thanks entirely to my whereabouts, but I believe it does play a role in me sounding like I'm sponsored by WeddingWire, which, again, I'm not in any way, shape, or form. I have no trouble believing I'm going to get more leads than if I was a small town photographer in Madison, Wisconsin, or Juneau, Alaska. There are a few things that I feel are worth mentioning, which is why I brought this up. Puerto Rico is an enviable destination, making it a dream for folks to come down and get hitched here with me. From the beaches to the mountains, what's not to like? The second thing about Puerto Rico is that it's a territory of the US, which means people technically don't have to leave the country in order to get married. Moreover, to that point, we use the US dollar as the unit of currency, which provides less headaches by not having to worry about currency exchanges. And finally, Puerto Rico has no wedding season. It's literally all year round. Couples who want to get married here don't have to worry about weather, and as a result, I'm booking weddings in October, November, December, January, and even February. People escaping the cold weather and tying the knot here with me is something that I see every single week. All of these factors play a role in me having so much business with the lowest tier that I felt compelled to be completely honest with you. Now, this is the part where you start asking yourself, is it really worth it? Well, I want to preface this section by saying that 98% of my business has in fact come from WeddingWire. Now that you know I was completely straightforward with you, the question remains, is it worth it to you? Well, there are a few factors to consider when formulating that decision. What is my market like and where am I located? If not for WeddingWire, what's the next best option? And finally, do I have an issue with commitment to a contract? After carefully marinating my options, I ended up pulling the trigger and I have no regrets. Prior to making this video, I actually had 3 leads in 48 hours, which isn't bad at all. I guess it goes back to what I was saying. If you've been a hobbyist for quite some time and want to get more serious about your income, then I'd say yes, WeddingWire is a worthy option. Heck, even a tenured photographer, you'd be hard-pressed not to give it a shot. You have all the analytics, you have to formulate a long-term opinion of your own, and if by the end of the contract you haven't made your money back or are displeased in any way, simply walk away and figure something else out. So there you have it. That's my review of this platform after being on it for half a year, and I made sure to leave no stone unturned for you. If you still have any questions, feel free to leave them down below, and I promise I'll get them to you. Moreover, I'm starting to read some comments at the end of the video, so if you want to get a shout out, leave one below. Speaking of which, let's get to that. So going back to the Canon R6 Mark II video that I made, Rex Reviews says, I agree. Some of the improvements were better than the initial leak, which is always a positive, but I don't think there's anything groundbreaking enough in this camera to try and upgrade to if you already own an R6. Thankfully, they kept the R6 current price point for this, so it will be absolutely a good entry level full frame for people not yet on the RF platform. Great content as always. I appreciate you, Rex. To which I replied, yeah, kudos to us then. I wholeheartedly agree right back. If I'm not mistaken, Canon has already decreased the price of the original R6 some $200. As a result, I might actually get a third body once Black Friday rolls around so that I can be set for a couple of years. I appreciate you saying that. Thanks a lot, Rex. I really do appreciate you saying that. Our friend Edward Scott says, this is a great overview, and you're reminding folks to really think about what they really need before spending hard-earned money. Well done. Again, I appreciate the kind words, Edward, to which I replied, yeah, that was actually my attempt. After seeing the specs, I realized that most of the features could have been done through a firmware update. Evidently, I took the stance from a R6 perspective as opposed to someone coming from an RP or even an R who will undoubtedly see this as a massive upgrade. Rightfully so. I feel as though Canon tried to market this camera with all of these bells and whistles that most of us will probably never use. Canon is attempting to utilize as leverage to actually sell this body when in reality the R6 was a real improvement. And finally, our pal Lee Frey says, good analysis, Francis. Thanks, buddy. I made a video on this upgrade and I agree with basically everything you said. Some nice features and nothing wowed me to the point where I felt the need to sell off my current R6. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think I replied, if you take a good step back and see the camera for what it is, most of it is software that could have easily been updated, and I still stand by that statement. Aside from the sensor and top dial modes, to name a few, can you think of anything else worth mentioning that's remotely relevant? I guess not for most of us. So that's going to do it for me. I hope you got some value out of this video. If you did, hey, stick that thumb you know where, and if you want to check out more of my stuff, stick around because I'd love to have you. I'll leave you now with the 5 things I wish I knew before shooting weddings, and I'll see you in there.